The commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Major General Hossein Salami, said the United States can't be trusted, adding that the American strategy in the region under the US President Joe Biden will not be different to his predecessor, Donald Trump. Salami said West Asia will not seek harm and vowed to remove American troops from the region. Salami's comments came as international efforts continued to revive the Iranian nuclear deal after the United States withdrew from it back in May 2018, and then Iran disavowed several obligations. Earlier today, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Saeed Khatibzadeh warned of what he called the attempts of the United States and Great Britain to win Israel's satisfaction in the matter of the Iranian nuclear deal. He considered the efforts of London and Washington a distortion of the goal of the Vienna talks, saying that Israel is the arch enemy of the nuclear agreement.
The second point is naturally Iran. We discussed many regional issues, but none is greater than Iran. And I can tell you that I hope that the United States will not go back to the old JCPOA, because we believe that that deal paves the way for Iran to have an arsenal of nuclear weapons with international legitimacy.
Salami's comments came after the foreign ministers of the United States and Great Britain visited Tel Aviv, and they made statements about the agreement with Iran. Blinken referred to Iran's destabilizing activities in the Middle East and the support for terror groups. Blinken's words were echoed by the British Foreign Secretary. Folks, it was only last Tuesday negotiators arrived in the Austrian capital Vienna for the fifth round of talks with Iranians on the nuclear deal. While Western diplomats are optimistic about the possibility of reaching an agreement, some Iranians are starting to question. The thing is, folks, Hassan Rouhani bet on the Biden administration in order to return to the nuclear agreement from which Washington withdrew during the Trump era.
Not only does the deal fail to halt Iran's nuclear ambitions, but it also fails to address the regime's development of ballistic missiles that could deliver nuclear warheads.
Thanks President Trump for his courageous leadership, his commitment to confront the terrorist regime in Tehran.
And now the Biden regime has come in, setting conditions in exchange for return to the agreement, and with the promise of lifting tough sanctions that were imposed on Iran. All this is just song and dance. Personally, I don't know why the Iranians are even negotiating with the West on this matter. Western experts are concerned that Iran will move towards acquiring nuclear weapons. However, the Ayatollah Khamenei has bluntly said they will never consider nuclear weapons as it goes against the country's religious belief. I think the Iranian revolutionary commander Salami is absolutely correct. The deal has Israel written all over it, and I won't be surprised if Biden discusses the deal in his upcoming meeting with Vladimir Putin in order to get him to pressure the Iranians. Israel is not happy with Iran backing the Palestinian resistance movement. Look it up yourselves. There's pictures of Qasem Soleimani in every single household out there in Gaza. Furthermore, Israel is not happy with Iran backing Bashar al-Assad in Syria, who recently got re-elected. Let's not forget the forces in Iraq and the Houthi resistance in Yemen, who are also backed by Iran. All this makes Israel very anxious. At present, as things stand, due to sanctions, Iran had to cut back on some of their support for these forces. Sure, if this nuclear deal is revived, Iran will receive hundreds of billions of dollars through this deal. But for how long? Israel is concerned, and we all know where Biden's loyalties lie. If the Iranians sign this deal, it's guaranteed that the deal will not last for too long. You just have to look at history. When the deal was in force, Iran had been honoring the terms of the agreement whilst the US was violating them. There were on-site inspectors who received access to every location in Iran when the deal was in force. The US reported that Iran was complying, and this is according to the US intelligence sources. This is confirmed, my dear friends, but the US didn't honor its pledges. Sanctions were imposed on Iran in violation of the plan of action. This is because the government of the United States has no honor. This is why Iran needs a hardline leader, not some softy pansy like Rouhani. I believe the only reason why Iran is attempting negotiations is due to the youth of Iran. Lifting sanctions will create a lot of jobs and opportunities. However, I wouldn't trust the United States. Just remember, when you violate your commitments, the other side will violate theirs. And that's exactly what happened between the United States and Iran in the past, and it will repeat if the deal is ratified once again. Israel and the United States have zero interest in reducing tensions in the region. If the deal ever gets signed, it's going to break pretty quickly, and both the United States and Iran will point fingers at one another, whilst Israel laughs on the sidelines. However, Netanyahu will most probably go around telling everyone Iran broke the deal and walked away from the negotiation table. There's still time to walk away with integrity. I feel the talks are pointless. Sanctions won't be removed. Even if they are, they will be reworked and reimposed. The only correct action right now is for Iran to leave negotiations. One can't understand why Iran should do something that no other nation like Israel, India, Pakistan, Russia, EU, China, USA, North Korea will do. Being an independent nation is pointless when you start limiting your ability to protect yourselves.
Whatever happens, Israel will always reserve the right to defend itself against a regime committed to our destruction,